Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. In the next 60 minutes.
We sent him to the regional police headquarters, and the crime officer directed that he's with the crime officer. They are cautioning him, he's writing a statement, and if possibly there's time, we might go to court today.
Swami constituency youth organizer of the NDC charged and detained by police in the Ashanti region for inciting political violence.
We are not in any way going to be intimidated by the police and the arrest. But what we're expecting them to do is to extend equal measure to the MPP.
We have details as the governing New Patriotic Party calls for his immediate prosecution.
We believe his threats are not in isolation. He is inspired by the NDC's presumptive leader, the former President John Dramani Mahama, who publicly touted the NDC's credentials. Quote, NDC has revolutionary roots.
Also tonight, push for full-scale forensic and pathological probe to establish whether 32-year-old Shadrach Alo actually died because 8 bags of cannabis blocked his airway.
So my stand is, because they didn't wait for our doctor to come inside the operation, I will not accept it. My family too, they are saying they will not accept whatever they brought out.
We have details plus hear the views of a pathologist and the member of parliament for the area who wants an independent probe.
I'm still asking the IGP to bring those officers that were there that day to books, because they are equally responsible. They are unprofessionalism, negligence, and their bad policing led to the death, contributed to the death of this young man.
Also tonight, the inside story of how Dr. Keisel Atofosing became the new NDC minority leader in Parliament.
But I took it like a call to duty. And did you see it coming? No. So this must have been a surprise to you, was it? I was, really. In fact, it shook me.
We have exclusive details as a new minority leader opens up in his first public interview on PM Express to be aired later tonight. Plus, is a reshuffle imminent in the majority MPP leadership in Parliament?
I don't know.
That the party or the president had discussed this?
Well, I've not had any discussion with myself from anybody.
But have you been told about those conversations?
Well, I have not been told, as an adage. Penny do manti.
Okay, so you've heard, but you choose not to hear.
We have business.
And government PESC domestic debt exchange program subscription as about 60% as at last night.
And also tonight's Ghana's embassy in Turkey links up with rescue teams on the frantic search for the whereabouts of former Black Star winger Christian Nachu, reportedly missing 26 hours after his rescue from a 7.8 magnitude quake rubble.
Now the question is, which hospital has he been sent to? And we are working feverishly with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to find out which hospital he has been sent to.
Meanwhile, the death toll surpasses 11,000. We have details of that and more here on Newsnight. Please do join us with your thoughts and comments. It's via WhatsApp is 055-1111-997. I am Emefa Apawu.
And I am Evans Mensah. Details after this.
Enterprise Insurance would deal with promo nana. Hey, what it? 4 coupons. Wom washing machine. Wom car washer. Wom baby. Wom obiadia. Wom.
Buy or renew your existing motor insurance policy and win instant rewards such as fuel coupons and branded gift items in this year's Woodyear Woman Motor Insurance promo. You could also win an iPhone 14, front load washing machine, high pressure car washer, vacuum cleaner, and an auto tie inflator during the monthly raffles and a slick clutch rocket motorbike at the end of the 6-month promotion. Make no slack. Call your insurance broker, agent, or visit any Enterprise Insurance branch and get your reward now. You can also call us on 0302-634-777. This promo is in partnership with NLA on the Characters platform.
Terms and conditions apply.
Enterprise, your advantage.
Thanks for staying with us here. We start off this evening from the Ashanti region. Police there have tonight arrested, charged and detained the Swami constituency youth organizer of the NDC for inciting political violence. Razak Kwampa, in an interview with a Kumasi-based TV station, urged NDC supporters to attack NPP supporters during the 2024 elections. The regional leadership of the NDC earlier today handed Razak Kwampa to the police for investigation. Well, this comes after a police statement declaring him wanted wanted. Nana Ojima has been following this for us. He joins us on the line. Nana, so tell us how this all happened today.
So the information I have gathered so far is that yesterday the executives of the NDC in the Ashanti region were at the Central Police Station to have some deliberations with the police over the press release that came out declaring Mr. Kwampa wanted. Now, the police promised that they will, the NDC executives promised that they will ensure that they bring him to the police the following day, which is today. So this morning around 10 a.m., Mr. Kwampa, together with some of the leadership of the NDC in the Ashanti region and some party supporters, went to the Central Police Station, and they were later referred to the Centreso District Police Station, where Mr. Kwampa's caution statement was taken and detained by the police.
Well, you got to interact with the youth organizer's lawyer, Mensah and Emefa. What exactly has he been telling you?
So, according to him, the suspect is in high spirit, and the suspect says that he meant all that he said, but he's not expecting the party supporters to do exactly what he said, even though he stands by his statement that they should defend the party with their lives.
Taken caution statement and charge statement has also been taken. They charged him with offensive conduct and we were to go to court. But unfortunately, after the statement, we realized that time has far been spent, so we agreed to go to court tomorrow. I must say and commend the Regional Police Command and the Sofulai Police Service. They have put up a very good professional conduct, but we believe that those things that has been said by people are equally culpable. So if they are arresting anybody coming from NDC, then they should as well take steps to arrest people who are also from the NPP, so that the issue of selective justice will not happen in this country. We would cooperate with the law. We are not perturbed about the detention of our brother here. No, he will be in South till tomorrow. He's not worried. He's not in any way perturbed about it, but he has no intention of destabilizing the peace of this nation. That is not his intentions. That has never been his intentions, and that is his statement. He was encouraging the people of Swami constituency, the kind of maltreatment that people have been meted to the people of NDC in Swami constituency, and was encouraging them.
Well, so that's his lawyer, Mensah and Emefa. It appears that Razak Kwampa enjoyed the company of the high-powered delegation from the NDC in the region. But tell us, we know that the organizer was also there, Joseph Yamin. He also got to address the press. What did he say?
So according to Mr. Yamin, whenever the police or the case will come up in court, he will make sure that he comes with the supporters of the party and also ensure that they stand by Mr. Kwampa till the issue is over.
We are not in any way going to be intimidated by the police and the arrest. You see us masked up here. We'll be coming any time the police takes an action. But what we're expecting them to do is to extend equal measure to the MPP. They arrested, okay, we brought him because they intercepted a viral video. As I speak on my phone, I have 4 viral videos that will go viral any moment from now, from the MPP side. And we're expecting the IGP to issue a statement for the arrest of these MPP individuals. Yes. We are expecting it from tomorrow. If they can go after NDC people because they have intercepted viral videos, then they should be prepared to pick the MPP before we make a statement. But I'm very sure that tomorrow the court will have no powers to detain our brother, because the court deals with precedents. Kennedy Japan made a statement some time back. The court said he had no locus. And I thought that the police could stand on this and caution our brother and advise him. It is not always that the police should be arresting. The police is also there to educate and also to advise. But here they took a stand, and I don't know why they want to do selective justice here. We will cooperate, but we want to assure them that we are not going to be intimidated. Yes. What is our right will be our right. Yes. We are going to do it. So wait for tomorrow. I'm very sure that we will go to court and the court will grant him bail.
Well, so that's the national organizer of the NDC, Joseph Yamin. But if you're listening and you're wondering what exactly Razak Kwampa said, he spoke in Tree, but my colleague, Nanaya Ojima, has been listening to that. Nanaya, paraphrase to us what exactly he said, for which reason the police is after him.
So, in brief, what he is saying is that he is telling all the youth organizers serving under him to prepare their men to face the NPP squarely. Whatever they would have to do to ensure that they win power for the NDC in the next election, they should do it. And he went ahead to use some words that I cannot repeat on radio.
Thank you very much. That's my colleague Nanaya Ojima. Well, the NPP have been addressing a press conference today, and that issue came up. My colleague Maxwell Agbagba was at the press conference and joins us in studio. So, Maxwell, what really were the concerns of the NPP when it comes to this particular issue?
Well, for the NPP, they're saying that this statement can jeopardize the 2024 elections and can throw this country into chaos. The National Communications Director of the NPP, Richard Ahiagba, says that if the NDC does not condemn the statement, what it appears on the surface of it is that it has a tacit approval of the leadership of the party. So he wants the party to first denounce the statement and then sack this constituency executive who's involved.
Ladies and gentlemen, we believe this about the NDC, that the statement that the youth organizer made is not in isolation, or did he misspoke. He is clear-eyed about what he was saying. His remarks reflect the culture and ethos of the NDC. We expect the police and the courts to bring the Swami youth organizer to justice very quickly to deter others who might be harboring similar violent and delinquent thoughts in the NDC. We demand the NDC to unreservedly disavow, disassociate, and expel this young man from their party without delay. That's the only point you can begin to take the NDC seriously about this comment that the young man has made, as though that they are not shielding him and they really want to discourage such commentary in our politics. Nothing short of this, ladies and gentlemen, will suffice. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot discard or discount these utterances as vain talk. This individual you just heard is coherent. It clearly appears that he knows what he's saying and understands what he's saying and knows what outcome he's expecting. It is dangerous, to put it mildly. Ladies and gentlemen, what is more dangerous, perhaps more egregious, is the NDC's failure to condemn and disassociate itself from these statements, but rather chooses to rationalize it. We cannot accept this as an ordinary misguided statement because, as I indicated earlier, it is too coherent to be taken less seriously. Besides, we believe his threats are not in isolation. He is inspired by the NDC's presumptive leader, the former President John Dramani Mahama, who publicly touted the NDC's credentials. Quote, NDC has revolutionary roots, and when it comes to unleashing violence, no one can beat us to it. Former President John Dramani Mahama and the NDC demonstrated this through their actions after the loss of the 2020 presidential elections.
So that's Richard Ahiagba on this particular issue. So as it stands now, the gentleman has been detained, he's been charged, and he's being prepared for court tomorrow. This is an issue that we'll be following up on. But it looks like that's not the only issue that this press conference sought to address. Tell us more.
Well, they've been talking about the Auditor General's COVID expenditure report. Richard Ahiagba raised some concerns about audit protocol breaches, which he says has created a false impression of wrongdoing. He specifically mentioned the issue about some staff of the Information Ministry receiving allowance during lockdown, and then the issue of the $81 million of vaccines which were never delivered. He says if the Auditor General had done an exit conference after the auditing, they would have realized that indeed the issues that the Ministry of Health raised about storage and other issues would have come up, and they wouldn't have flagged, that payment. We can hear him.
Friends from the media, the $120 million expended through the UNICEF AVAT platform to procure some 16.9 million Johnson & Johnson vaccines should not have been flagged, given effective communication. This would have come to light if officials had worked diligently. As it turned out, the Ministry of Health has agreed to a delivery schedule tied to the domestic uptake of the vaccine. Therefore, the $81 million flagged by the auditors is not lost to the state, and everybody knows that. The infraction cited against the Ministry of Information, which the NDC appears to be harping on, is a product of a breach of the regular audit procedure. Ideally, the audit service would typically organize an exit conference to discuss their findings and allow the agency the opportunity to clarify where necessary. However, this was not done. In a letter by the Ministry of Information to the auditors, it detailed the explanations to justify the basis for that expenditure to the audit. But now the truth would not matter, because the NDC has taken off already with this false impression that something had been done wrong in that case, when indeed it was a question of breach of procedure. At least, ladies and gentlemen, you know today, and so you can correct the NDC when they make those false claims in your studios.
And that there is the NPP's Director of Communications, and talking about the COVID expenditure. Parliament will be soon beginning a public hearing into that on the back of the Auditor General report. You're still listening to News 90 on Joy 99.7 FM. And let's stay with politics. And tonight we're getting the inside story of how Dr. Keiselato Fosim became the new NDC minority leader. Well, he's been granting an exclusive interview to PM Express, which will be played in full at 9 p.m. on the Joy News channel. It talks about how he got the word, but also how he never really campaigned for that position, and how he had to call Harun Edrisu on the back of that because of the peculiar relationship that they had, but also revealing who made the call to him, giving him that position and his reaction to it. Listen.
I was told the night before. The night before, when the world knew? Yes. We knew in the morning. I think it was a Thursday morning. Yes. So you knew the Wednesday? The Wednesday. Okay. So, and I mean, it's a decision that the party had made. So they were informing me, not for me to make a choice as to whether I am going to accept it or not to accept it. But I took it like a call to duty. And did you see it coming? No. So this must have been a surprise to you, was it? I was, really. In fact, it shook me by surprise. It took me by surprise. But what I've told you earlier, that I adapt it so easily, and that's my biggest strength. And it doesn't take me more than a couple of minutes to adapt. So I sat back and said, hey. That's interesting that you didn't see it coming. I didn't see it coming. This must have been a ball from the blue for you. Let me put it this way. If there is any person in this house who have worked so hard for Honorable Haruna and worked to him, I don't think there'll be two people more than me. Okay? My loyalty to him is unquestionable. I've loved him. In fact, I'm a product of his leadership because he gave me room to work and to excel. It's not every leader who will give his rank an opportunity to excel that magnitude. So, and I work to him. I go to him every morning, sit him down, and brief him on a daily basis. First thing I do, I get to Parliament before 9, walk straight to his office. He will be there. We'll have our small meeting, brief him for the day, and then we disperse. Then he goes to the floor. So we have that cohesion. So when I was told, my first concern was, is he aware of it? And how will he feel? But Honorable Haruna knows that I've never wished for his job. But at a point in time, one person will have to stand up and do something for the caucus. So I happen to be the one to do it. And I think it's an honor for me to step in a very big shoe of my predecessor, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu.
Was it a phone call and a face-to-face meeting?
Oh, it's face-to-face meeting. Yes, face-to-face.
Should I guess that it was Asiru Ketia who called you?
Yes. The party as leadership. Yes.
And then told you, I mean, I'm sure when they called you were driving over, you're wondering, or you had a hint when you were driving?
No. It's a big decision. The party took a big decision. They believe it's a right decision. They think where we get into, they need a different general to take us to that kind of war. That's how I interpreted it. Honorable Haruna has done his bit and done it very well. His successes are out there for everybody to see.
You say you're a product of his leadership.
And clearly, time has come for a new general to step in the fight. I recognize that, and honestly, I take it as an opportunity to also step in and to lead the party.
Did you call him because your
I called him immediately.
Okay.
I called him immediately. I was told as soon as I left the place, I placed a phone call to him. That
was he aware before you called?
I think he has also just been told that that has been done.
Did he give you a blessing immediately, or he was?
As I said, me and Honorable Haruna, we are very close, and I don't think anything can come between us. I expect me so much. So you can see pictures between the two of us and the body language and kind of thing there.
I mean, the census committee was the last one where you.
We are so close. I mean, we are brothers. He's my senior brother. He counsels me daily and that kind of thing. So it has to happen. It has.
And you recall there was a major division in the ranks of the minority in parliament on the back of his appointment. Well, he speaks to that. He speaks to the activity of the 70-plus rebel NDC MPs who opposed it and asked for it, in some cases, to be reversed. He speaks to that. Is he bearing any grudges? Has he forgiving them? You want to find out at 9 p.m. on the Joy News channel. It's also going to be live on the our many social media pages, also on myjoyonline.com, an exclusive with Kisla Tuforsin.
Well, I'm sure the issue about his case in court and leading the minority came up. Don't tell me. I would want to hear him respond.
He had an interesting answer to that question, because it turns out that his first day on the job,
he had to be in court.
He had to be in court and shuffle between the court and parliament to come and start work. And so the question to him was, wouldn't this affect him? Wouldn't it distract him? He had a very interesting answer to it. And, you want to just tune in and watch and listen to what he has to say.
He has a plan as to how he's going to work with the former leadership.
Well, he detailed this plan, actually.
Okay.
And, yesterday, thankfully, I also spoke to Mensah and Emefa, and Mensah and Emefa was glowing in his description of him. He says he's more than a brother. But Dr. Tuforsin had a different answer when I asked him about that. I felt that answer was a very interesting one. And if the minority leader, if the majority leader is listening, I will encourage him to watch at 9 p.m. to hear the man on the opposite side now who will be dealing with him. Now, talking about Mensah and Emefa, he was on PM Express yesterday as well. He took his turn on PM Express. There have been a lot of rumor that there is an impending reshuffle in the ranks of the majority as well.
And he's been dropping certain hints as well.
He's been dropping certain hints about it. He actually delivered a proverb that answers the question in a way.
You're able to tell us what the proverb is?
Well, listen and judge for yourself.
I don't know.
Is there reshuffle in the offing?
I don't know. It doesn't rest with me. The decision is for the party.
Because we are hearing that has been mooted already.
I don't know.
You do know?
I don't know.
That the party or the president had discussed this?
Well, I've not had any discussion with myself from anybody.
But have you been told about those conversations?
Well, I have not been told.
But you're aware that conversation has been had at some point, at some level?
The accounts have it as an adage. Penny due manti.
Okay, so you've heard, but you choose not to hear. Am I interpreting that proverb right?
I'm not adding anything to it. I'm not repeating it.
I mean, for those who don't understand tree, because this is a very deep tree proverb. I mean, it doesn't mean that, yes, I have heard, but I haven't heard.
You asked me the question. I told you I had not had that conversation with anybody. And nobody had also had that conversation with me. And you are pressing on. I said, penny due manti. That is it.
I'm just hoping that you could help us with interpretation.
Let your hope abate. Can we go on?
But the reason I've heard that has been mooted is a reason that Asenu Ketia also gave for Aveji's removal. That Aveji had said he isn't running again in the next election. Something you've told me.
Yes.
And Asenu Ketia believes if you make that statement and you're no longer in the game, then it makes sense to get somebody else in the seat who obviously will be keen on retaining his own seat in the next elections and therefore, by extension, better advocate the party's cause as well.
Well, those of them that have come on board, have we heard any of them tell you that they are not going to contest? So can you use that as an excuse? In any event, if the person says that he's not going to contest, does he divest himself of the party's interest? I'm not sure.
So, Emefa Apawu, I was asking you before I played it, the question about is there an impending reshuffle that will see the removal of Mensah and Emefa as majority leader? And he answers that question with a proverb. What's the proverb again? Honestly, but
he told you.
Penin dua mante mante.
Penin dua mante mante.
What's that? What does that mean?
Okay, so I speak a little bit of Chi, so I can explain. Okay. So it says that it looks like a mature adult in a house or a setting or in a society and sees and hears the things that happen but decides not to talk about it. It does not mean he's not aware of what is going on. He's aware but has taken a decision not to speak about it. But his thoughts and every decision is in his head.
Is that what it is?
More like,
okay. So in other words, he was telling me that he knows there are moves to remove him, but his plan is in his head.
Yeah,
I mean,
but onlookers would say that the penny in the house is not doing anything about it. That's what they think. Or those who are looking on will say that this is an adult in our setting and it's not doing anything about it. But as a mature adult, he knows what is going on, but at the right time, we'll speak about it.
Interesting. Well, the NDC had his own reshuffle, which saw the removal of Haruna Idrisu. We talked about that with that exclusive that you can tune in at 9 and watch on the Johnny's channel. But among others, they were accused of being too friendly with the MPP bunch. That's why many argued that Haruna Idrisu and co were removed. So how cozy should leaders in parliament get? Here is Majority Leader Osechi Mensah again.
We become more like brothers than friends.
But that's too cozy. Very suspiciously cozy.
How suspicious?
I mean, two sides.
You work to facilitate the work of government business. You must find that relationship with him, so you're able to talk to him, to let him appreciate where you're coming from, and he can also trust you. So you build that relationship. You know, Haruna, when he disagrees with you, he'll tell you, leader, this one, the policy position of my party is that we are opposed to it. He will tell you, hey, this one, I will disagree with you. Bring your troops. I will disagree with you. That's it. So I go to Tamale. He organizes TZ for me to eat. And sometimes he even houses me in a hotel. That's how friends are. Avoka, when he was the majority leader, anytime he came to Kumasi, I was a minority leader. I'll take him to a sport, and then we drink together. I mean, that's how we're able to build confidence and trust and move the agenda of Parliament forward. Ama Kofi Boy, even before he came into this position, had indicated to him that, I'd heard that there is a beautiful hotel in the Western region in his constituency. And he extended a hand to me. He said, look, come stay for 4 days, I'll pay for it. It will be at bring your family. I mean, that's how we are supposed to.
Because, I mean, this is relevant because in the midst of this change, there's some who actually expressed a view with the NDC that the change was necessary because they were sold out. The industry was sold out. And that they were too cozy.
Nothing of the sort has ever happened between me and Haruna. For Muntaka, he was lately criticizing me for things that I had not done. But that's different. So what would I do to buy off Muntaka or buy a veggie? I mean, nothing of the sort happened. But because we are seen together, Alban, when he was the majority leader, we were close buddies to the extent that when he was in trouble in his constituency, Parliament moved there.
Yeah.
And I spoke for him.
So that's the majority leader, Osei Mensah. That full interview is also available on all our YouTube channels and social media platforms. But watch out for this evening's interview with Dr. Kaisel Atuforcing. And it's an all kind of interview. You would want to catch it. But still to come here on Newsnight, Ghana's embassy in Turkey links up with rescue teams on a frantic search for the whereabouts of former Black Star winger Christian Atsu.
Now the question is, which hospital has he been sent to? And we are working feverishly with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to find out which hospital he has been sent to.
Well, the prayer continues. We'll have details of that. George.
You know, it's a hope after that news, I think a couple of days ago, late evening, that he had been retrieved and that he was alive, has been sent to the hospital. Everybody reported it. BBC had it. You know, it was global news. And just to wake up this morning to hear a completely different story, that yes, he's still being there's a search still underway for him. It's pretty heartbreaking.
You know, sometimes when you follow these stories on the wires and disasters, sometimes you think they are far away from you. Yeah, but now when one of people you know is caught up in, you feel so connected, and you're monitoring developments there. You know, kids are being brought out and all the rest, and it hits you sometimes, even though you might not be very close to that person.
If you join us after business, we'll take you to Turkey, and we'll hear from our sports decks. They've been working their sources to give you the very latest. George, what's in headlines?
Well, Evans, coming up, government pegs domestic debt exchange program subscription as last night at about 60% interest, and the National Petroleum Authority goes after 47 oil marketing companies over delays in paying 400 million Ghana cedis in margins collected over 2 years. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN. Welcome to the new world of business, Allianz Life and Ghana Pay. Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, government has indicated that it has secured about 60% participation in the domestic debt exchange program. Now, this is as of last night. Now, this is what Joy Business has picked up from persons with knowledge of the offer. There is more in this report.
This is based on results we've picked up last night, February 7, 2023. According to persons working on the offer, government could hit the 80% target come Friday. This is because some of the institutional investors were in the process of submitting their documents as of last night, and this could impact on the subscription numbers by the end of the week. According to government, it has witnessed high participation by all the major commercial banks, insurance firms, institutional bondholders, and even individual bondholders. Joy Business is learning that, as of last night, it was only 2 of the major banks that had written for an extension to finalize their process today in terms of submitting their documents. The Ministry of Finance is also rejecting reports that it was forced to grant a 3-day administrative window for bondholders under the program because it was struggling to get the required participation. However, sources say the program will not include pension funds. Government has in the meantime indicated it will announce the results of the domestic debt exchange program on Monday, February 13. However, settlement will be done on Valentine's Day, that is 14th February 2023. Joy Business is also learning that closing the deal next week might help government in its quest to meet their first quarter ending target for securing an IMF board approval for Ghana's economic program.
And that is the Business Desk report. Meanwhile, the economist with GCB Capital, Courage Buti, says that this might fast-track Ghana's progress in securing IMF board approval for the country's program with the fund.
The indication is that we've achieved more than 50% participation, and that when the processes are completed, based on what they are seeing, we could be getting closer to the target. If we achieve that, I think it will be an important milestone in the journey towards getting board level approval from the IMF. It's what we need at this time to begin to correct some of the imbalances in the economy. In my estimation, even anything around 55, 60, and even maximum 70% will represent good success. So for me, this sounds like a positive progress or some progress in the domestic debt exchange conversation, and we will all be looking forward to the 14th for settlement. Then we get a sense of what we achieved.
Economist with GCB Capital, Courage Buti. Former president of the Ghana Association of Banks, Alhassan Andani, is warning that credit extension to businesses might be hit badly this year. The warning is as a result of how liquidity and the capital of commercial banks have been impacted badly due to how the domestic debt exchange program is being implemented. Mr. Andani tells Joy Business banks may have to focus on targeted lending as they try to preserve their little capital available.
I think at the moment, banks should prudently look after capital, and they should look after liquidity. Liquidity primarily to respond to client deposit withdrawals. I wouldn't, if I was sitting there, I wouldn't be, at the moment, because of the poisoned economic environment, be making out credit. Unless, because I need to retain liquidity to respond to the earlier point you made. Keep the confidence at the depositor level high. Because if we lose that, everything would collapse. So it's about taking a second look at what people borrow for and to advise. And very, with this kind of environment, those strong cash flow, safe cash flow environment that will give you that kind of interest expense and also still give you a profit will be far and few.
Alhassan Andani is a former president of the Ghana Association of Banks. The National Petroleum Authority is going after 47 oil marketing companies over their refusal to pay margins collected, running into 400 million Ghana cedis. Now, this is coming from the primary distributor's margin on every litre of petroleum products collected from 2019 to 2022. The authority is planning to start prosecuting these firms, that is from February 22, and their names of the directors also being published as well. The National Petroleum Authority had earlier told Joy Business that they'll be doing everything to ensure that these monies are paid. Mohammed Kudus is the communications manager at the authority.
So at any time that we determine that any of the set rules or conditions have not actually been adhered to, or what has actually been reported to us does not turn out to be the case, we have that capacity to get back at you and revoke your license. And mind you, before we do that, we normally would write to you and then give you the opportunity to defend your case. And all of these OMCs have actually been duly written to, and the revocation of their license is actually in order. Obviously, we have offices across the regions, and we are regularly on the field monitoring these outlets. And so whoever decides to flout the directive from the National Petroleum Authority will certainly be doing it at its own risk. And the authority would not relent at all in having to come after an OMC who decides to flout what we have directed.
Communications manager at the National Petroleum Authority, Mohammed Abdul Kudus. Now, the export of cocoa could rake in $4.1 billion by 2025. That's according to the Minister of Information, Kojo Opon Nkrumah. Now, further indicated that revenue generated from this sector will play a critical role in terms of the economy and helping stabilize the Ghana city. He spoke at the launch of the 2023 National Chocolate Week.
On the average, we are producing about 700 metric tons of cocoa per year since 2012. And it's estimated that the contribution of cocoa to Ghana's GDP will rise to about $4.1 billion by 2025. Cocoa is the third largest foreign exchange earner for the country after gold and crude oil, and revenues from the industry have been on the upward trajectory since 2019. Specifically in 2019, we earned about 2.2 billion, 2.3 billion in 2020, 2.8 billion in 2021, and we're hoping to grow some more. So you agree with me that the cocoa industry is playing a significant role in stabilizing the local currency, among many other things.
Information Minister Kojo upon Nkrumah to the stock market. If you were a shareholder in GCB, the value of each share held was down by a peswa and is now worth 3 Ghana cedis 50 pesos. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Evans and Emefa.
George, thank you very much. And we are counting down now to Friday, right? Friday.
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah.
And that will be the final closure of the
we hope
program.
so.
And then by on Valentine's Day there will be
apparently we are hearing that there will be an announcement on Monday about how the whole thing has fared.
Okay.
And then there will be the settlement on Valentine's Day, that is Tuesday. So let's see how things go. Interesting developments.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now, there is a push tonight for a full-scale forensic and pathological probe into circumstances leading to the death of 32-year-old Shadrach Alu. The police say his airway was blocked with the post-mortem examination revealing 8 bags of cannabis were retrieved from his throat.
Well, family of the deceased say this is an attempt to divert attention from the fact that Shadrach was brutalized by the police, causing his death. Joseph Akable reports.
They can't tell us this thing. They can't tell us that nobody beats my brother to death.
A distressed perpetual DDA cannot simply accept the latest from the police. She is busily speaking on the phone to friends and family members who are surprised and need answers. The latest updates from the police claims the family had consented for an autopsy to be conducted. This examination is said to have revealed that Shadrach died as a result of a blocking of his airway. 8 bags of cannabis are said to have been retrieved from his throat. The family first disputes the claim of having consented for the autopsy to be conducted.
They convinced my family to understand.
So some of them agreed eventually?
Yeah, I was not around. According to that, my sister, she said, the doctor said he will not be around today. He's traveling. And I told her that he is not the only police doctor that can operate on my brother. So if he is traveling, let him go. For the sake of justice, let him go. Then they should find another doctor that will collaborate with our own doctor. What is the crime in this one? What is the rush for? So therefore, they eventually did the autopsy.
Perpetual alleges the cannabis could have been planted.
If they are saying they have done all investigations and whatever, he swallowed weed in which is wrapped in rubber. Then they found 8 folded wheat inside. Maybe Sagana for say weed in Nkrumah. Weed obi to me many weed rubber in Nkrumah to me many easy sir. The time that he was swallowing it, have they given us a footage of that time he was trying swallowing the weed, and he didn't struggle. He swallowed the weed easily like that. So my stand is because they didn't wait for our doctor to come inside the operation. I will not accept it. My family too, they are saying they will not accept whatever they brought out. Somebody planted the weed inside his throat so that when our lawyer will be standing there, he will see that, oh, I've seen weed.
Gross allegation.
Yes, I'm saying it. So they should provide how he was swallowing it. Because the whole for justice to prevail, the whole more, they have CCTV camera everywhere. And they are saying they captured all the ashes. So they should provide why the guy was able to swallow that substance without struggling, without choking.
The fight for justice continues as legal action against the Attorney General and the police service remains the next line of action.
Family. We are taking them to court and they will hear from us because we are not buying this. We indicated that they should allow us bring our own doctor. And they said the doctor that the police doctor that is going to do the autopsy is traveling, so they don't have patience for us to bring our doctor. Even that day, the time yesterday, the time they gave us was too early. Early in the morning, 6 o'clock. It can be that our doctor was stuck in traffic. What is the rush for? Okay. What do you want to cover? Like, who are you covering up for? So we are still demanding justice. They can't tell us that what they have brought out is the real fact of the issue. So everybody should forget the evidences we have seen in on social media and all that.
Well, we can hear from pathologist Professor Osei Sampini, who says a more detailed report could be made available to the family.
Usually, we allow interested parties to be present. The interested party, not all, the whole family, no. They pick some reps within the family to be present. And then, if possible, the one who is probably accused also come, to the autopsy room. We eventually do what we call a detailed report, very detailed report of how the man looked like, his height, his weight, is everything the doctor will state it. And that is where, if there's any doubt, then you can probably challenge it. But whatever the doctor said verbally is written. It's not only saying verbally, because the doctor would have done something called verbal cause of death. And that verbal cause of death, in this instance, is a written, but the police usually call it verbal cause of death. It's a written cause of death. That's the initial cause. But subsequent to that, what happened is what the doctor is going to stealthily write, and he's going to write pages, not a paper. He's going to write pages of whatever has happened prior to the death of this culprit. You understand? So he's going to write detailed report. So basically, that's what the doctor is going to do when he submits that basic, the detailed report to the AG's office. In fact, through the course, and then eventually lands on the table of the AG's office, and then they take a decision after.
Now, Sir Professor Osei Sampini, he's a pathologist. Let's bring in lawyer Francis Xavier Susu. He's lawyer for the family. We're grateful for your time here on Newsnight. So, from what you know so far, is the police statement an accurate reflection of what has transpired?
I think that the police are being disingenuous and deliberately ordering facts to avoid liability, and that is quite unfortunate. I think that the police statement is sensitive to the issue, and it's very, very disappointing. The reason is that you have initial situation report that says the suspect took something out of his bag and swallowed it. And then you have the fact before the coroner's court repeating same. So now my simple question is that in the performance of your duty as a police officer, when you have seen a suspect swallow something and you succeed in apprehending the suspect, what do you do with the suspect? Do you handcuff him, leave him on the floor, he's beaten, he's stays, and finally passes away? You remove the handcuff and then you left him right there until a bystander takes this guy to the nearest hospital, only for him to be declared dead on arrival. So, in terms of causation, it is not enough to even begin to speak to verbal cause of death as was said by as was by the autopsy report. And any lawyer, would know that autopsy reports are expert witness opinions. They are not even binding on a jury in a murder or manslaughter trial. You have video footages showing this young man handcuffed, on the floor, being tased, beating until the person passed away.
Well, so we've been hearing from the family lawyer on this. They are contesting the account of the police. They are heading to court. Do we know when exactly or what the way forward will be in this matter?
Well, the way forward is contained in a statement that we just released. The first one is that if the police fails to conduct an expansive investigation to this matter, we are petitioning Shraj as a first step for a full-scale human rights investigation into the matter so they can make appropriate recommendations, because Shraj has a mandate to look at the facts as they unveiled. And then secondly, we are calling for the resignation of the IGP for the fact that he's failing to give an expansive investigation into the matter and as a way of covering up for police negligence leading to death of a suspect in their lawful custody, then we are demanding that he will resign on that. On that note.
Okay, we are grateful. This is a story we'll definitely be following up on. Francis Xavier Susui's lawyer for the family. We head to Turkey. Yes, we do, and we have some difficult, heartbreaking story to report about Christian Atsu, the Ghanaian footballer, a former Black Stars player. And the BBC is reporting the last hour that his whereabouts is still unknown. They're now quoting the manager of the club he plays for in Turkey, Hatayspor, Valkin Demir, who had said that, quote, they have no news yet on either Atsu or the sporting director, who both of them still can't be found. He says, quote, if they were in hospital, don't you think I would share this? Please don't be sure that he survived. This should not be written as he survived, he had said. And BBC is reporting that tonight. Joining us in the studio with more is our colleague Muftau Nabila. Muftau, you've been working your sources, trying to get the agent amongst others. Because yesterday we were so sure he had been found. We don't know what went wrong. But what's the latest? What are you hearing from the agent?
Quite interesting. Just before I came to the studio, I spoke to the agent, and he was telling me that they had all relied on the information that was coming from the club. And so they asked a follow-up question. They asked the club which hospital he had been taken to, because they wanted to visit him. And that was when they realized that the earlier information that they were given, that he's been rescued, was actually inaccurate. So since then, they've still been engaging the club. They're engaging officials. And they have absolutely no idea about the whereabouts of Christian Atsu. That is what the agent told me just less than an hour ago.
Well, we can hear from the ambassador, Francisca Ashito-Odunton. She's also deepening the uncertainty, confirming the mystery of Atsu's whereabouts, but says the embassy is working hard to locate him.
Not yet. You know, because of the activity and, should I say, confusion around the area, what they have assured me is he was pulled out of the rubble, put in an ambulance. Now the question is, which hospital has he been sent to? And we are working feverishly with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to find out which hospital he has been sent to, so we can go and visit him. That's the situation now. So the Foreign Ministry here, together with their agencies, are trying to locate which hospital he has been sent to. As the people are being sent to various hospitals. Right now, I'm looking through, they've sent me a list of over 200 people stating where they are. And I'm going through the list to see if I can find Atsu. But the long and short of it is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has assured us that they will find him and they will take us to him.
Well, that's Ghana's ambassador to Turkey, Francisca Ashito-Odunton. But really, I'm sure you're wondering, at what point did we hear that he had been rescued, and then what went wrong? What happened, really?
Actually, it was after some 26 hours following the incident that media reports began saying that he's been found. And some had actually said the information started from his teammates who had said that he's been found and that he's been rushed to the hospital. So when that happened, like I mentioned yesterday and even this evening, then I also spoke to the agent, and he told me indeed they've been told that the player has been found, and even the Ghana Football Association also tweeted that they've gotten information from Turkey that he's been found. Even CAF also tweeted that he's been found, and. Just for us to wake up today to hear different stories, and the club again said it was a mistaken identity. So we are wondering how their very own player, they know so much.
And checking BBC, it was the club's own Vice President Mustafa Ozat
who spoke.
Who spoke
and later he again said it was a mistaken identity.
Wow.
So if the club says it's a mistaken identity, then quite difficult for everyone to appreciate what is happening.
But the search is still on.
The search is still on. The search is on. And in fact, it's not only Christian Achu, as I mentioned yesterday. So many players. You might have heard a story that a Turkish goalkeeper has died. In fact, his teammate is a Ghanaian, a former player of Ochiman Planners. I was made to understand that, yeah, they also suffered, but he's quite okay. I spoke to his manager in Ghana, who told me, oh, his player is fine. He's got so many players over there, but he says that they are fine. And in fact, he had even made arrangement for his players to be taken away from where the incident happened to Istanbul, so they'll be safe.
Thank you very much, Muftau Nabila. We continue to pray that Christian Achu will be found alive. That's how we wrap up tonight's edition of Newsnight. We have Strong and Sassy coming up.